There comes a moment in life when everything feels heavier than usual. The plans fall apart, the energy disappears, the pressure becomes difficult to explain. Some mornings begin with anxiety, some nights end with silent battles that nobody sees. Hard times have a strange way of changing people. They test patience, they test confidence, they quietly force people to question everything they once believed about themselves. The painful truth is that almost everybody dreams about success when life feels comfortable. Confidence feels easy when things are working. Motivation feels natural when money is flowing, relationships are stable, and the future looks clear. Yet something very different happens when life suddenly becomes difficult. That is where people begin to change. That is where true character quietly reveals itself. Some people walk through storms and somehow come out stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. Others slowly lose hope. Others stop believing in themselves. Others allow fear, stress, and disappointment to slowly take control. The difference between those two people often comes down to something most people never talk about. During difficult seasons, success stops being about talent, luck, or intelligence. It becomes about mindset, habits, emotional strength, and the quiet decisions made when nobody is watching. So, what do you do when life suddenly stops going your way? What happens when you feel exhausted, stressed, financially pressured, emotionally drained, or completely lost? How do people continue moving forward when everything around them feels uncertain? Why do difficult seasons break some people while building others into stronger versions of themselves? Hidden inside hard times are lessons that many people fail to notice until years later. Strange enough, some of the most successful people in history built their greatest strengths during the worst chapters of their lives. Failure taught them discipline. Rejection gave them focus. Pain forced them to grow in ways comfort never could. This video goes deeper than motivation. This video will show you how difficult seasons quietly shape stronger people. You will learn why hard times affect the mind the way they do, why many people unknowingly make their struggles worse, and how small daily decisions can slowly rebuild confidence even during the darkest moments. You will also discover lesser-known truths about resilience, emotional survival, and the habits that help people thrive when life feels unfair. Some of these lessons may completely change the way you see struggle. Stay with this video until the end because the final lesson may completely shift the way you think about difficult seasons. A challenge that feels unbearable today may secretly be building the strength needed for the future you want. Sometimes the hardest chapters carry the greatest lessons, although very few people realize it while they are living through them. Welcome to our channel, where growth, discipline, and mindset come together to help you become stronger through every season of life. If you believe personal growth matters, subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey toward becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient every single day. Hard times are one of the few things that connect every human being, no matter where they come from, how successful they appear, or how perfect their life may seem from the outside. Every person eventually faces seasons that test their patience, confidence, and emotional strength. Life has a way of becoming difficult without warning. One moment, everything feels stable. The next moment, uncertainty quietly enters the picture. Plans begin to fall apart. Confidence becomes harder to hold on to. Questions start appearing that nobody feels ready to answer. The difficult truth that many people struggle to accept is that pain is part of life. Struggle is part of growth. Nobody escapes challenges forever. Sometimes the struggle arrives through financial pressure. Bills begin to pile up. The future feels uncertain. Sleep becomes difficult because the mind refuses to rest. The pressure slowly grows heavier, creating fear that follows people into every part of their day. For others, the struggle comes through loneliness. Being surrounded by people suddenly feels different when nobody truly understands the battles happening internally. Some people carry silent pain for months or even years without ever speaking about it. They continue smiling, continue working, continue pretending everything feels normal while quietly feeling disconnected inside. Then there is failure, one of the hardest experiences for many people to accept. A failed relationship, a failed dream, a missed opportunity, a goal that seems so close suddenly disappears. Failure has a strange way of making people question their worth. It whispers dangerous thoughts into the mind, thoughts that say maybe success belongs to somebody else, maybe growth is meant for other people, maybe life simply forgot about them. Stress begins building at the same time. The pressure to keep moving forward while carrying emotional exhaustion becomes overwhelming. Many people secretly feel trapped between trying harder and feeling completely drained. Then comes another feeling that almost everybody experiences but rarely admits out loud. Feeling behind in life. Watching other people move ahead while feeling stuck in the same place can quietly damage confidence. Fear of the future begins growing stronger. Questions appear without answers. Will things ever improve? Will this difficult season ever end? Will life ever feel stable again? Yet hard times do not always mean life is working against you. Sometimes difficult seasons are shaping something stronger inside you, even when the process feels uncomfortable. The question is never whether life will become hard. The real question is, who will you become during hard times? One of the biggest reasons hard times feel even heavier than they already are is because many people spend too much energy fighting reality. Deep down, they refuse to accept that life has changed. They keep replaying old expectations in their minds. They think about how things were supposed to happen. They hold on to plans that no longer exist. They wait for life to suddenly return to normal while becoming more frustrated every day that it does not. This quiet resistance creates another layer of pain. The difficult situation already exists, yet the mind continues fighting against it, asking questions that rarely bring peace. Why is this happening to me? Why did everything suddenly fall apart? Why does life feel unfair? These questions are understandable because pain naturally creates confusion. Yet staying trapped inside those questions for too long often keeps people stuck. Many people spend months, sometimes years, waiting for answers that never arrive. They become trapped in anger, disappointment, or frustration. They replay painful moments again and again, searching for reasons that may never fully make sense. At the same time, life continues moving forward. Problems remain unsolved. Opportunities quietly pass by. Emotional exhaustion grows stronger. The strange thing about suffering is that it becomes heavier when reality is constantly resisted. Fighting reality does not remove pain. It usually increases it. There comes a moment during every difficult season where something important has to shift inside the mind. The question slowly changes from "why is this happening to me?" to "what is this moment trying to teach me?" That shift changes everything. It changes how people see pain. It changes how they respond to struggle. Suddenly, hard times stop feeling like punishment and begin feeling like lessons that demand attention. A financial problem may teach discipline. Loneliness may reveal the importance of meaningful connections. Failure may expose weaknesses that were hidden during easier seasons. Stress may reveal habits that need to change. Acceptance plays an important role here, although many people misunderstand it. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It does not mean becoming weak or losing hope. Acceptance simply means seeing reality clearly instead of pretending it does not exist. It means saying this situation is difficult, but this is where life is right now. From that place of honesty, clarity begins to appear. Decisions become easier. Solutions become easier to see. Energy stops being wasted on denial and starts being used for growth. Because the truth is simple. You cannot heal what you refuse to face. One reason hard times feel so overwhelming is because people often spend too much energy thinking about things they cannot control. The mind naturally wants answers. It wants certainty. It wants control over situations that feel unstable. During difficult seasons, many people become mentally trapped by things far outside their reach. They worry about other people and their behavior. They stress over the economy, rising costs, missed opportunities, or sudden setbacks that nobody could have predicted. They replay painful moments from the past, wishing they had chosen differently, spoken differently, or acted differently. At the same time, fear begins growing around the opinions of others. People quietly wonder who is judging them, who thinks they failed, or who notices how much they are struggling. All of this mental weight slowly drains energy. The difficult part is that focusing on things outside your control rarely changes anything. it only creates frustration. The more attention people give to things they cannot change, the more powerless they begin to feel. Days start feeling heavier. Motivation becomes harder to find. Progress feels impossible because the mind stays focused on problems too large to solve all at once. Hard times already bring enough pressure. Adding endless worry only makes the road feel longer. There comes a point when survival during difficult seasons depends on shifting attention towards something much smaller and much more powerful. The focus has to move toward what can actually be controlled. Daily habits begin to matter more than motivation. Discipline becomes more important than temporary emotions. Small actions suddenly carry more weight than big plans. Even during chaos, there are still things within reach. The way you care for your body, the way you speak to yourself, the effort you choose to give each day, the knowledge you decide to learn, the habits you either build or ignore. A difficult season may take away comfort, certainty, or stability, but it still leaves room for choices. You can choose to get up when staying down feels easier. You can choose to protect your health even when stress feels overwhelming. You can choose better thoughts when negativity tries to take over. You can learn new skills while waiting for life to improve. You can take one useful action instead of remaining stuck in fear. Many people believe change only happens through huge breakthroughs, but difficult seasons usually work differently. Real progress often begins quietly. One healthy decision, one productive habit, one moment of discipline, one lesson learned. Hard times are rarely survived through giant steps. Most people survive them one good decision at a time, even when those decisions seem small in the moment. During hard times, one of the most important things people often overlook is the condition of their mind. Difficult seasons already bring pressure, uncertainty, and emotional exhaustion, yet many people unknowingly make things harder by constantly feeding their minds negativity. They wake up stressed and immediately consume bad news. They spend hours listening to fearful opinions, endless complaints, and voices that only increase anxiety. Slowly, without realizing it, their environment begins shaping how they think, feel, and respond to problems. The truth is, the mind absorbs more than people realize. Every conversation, every opinion, every piece of information leaves an impact. During peaceful seasons, negative influences may feel manageable. During hard times, they become much more dangerous because the mind is already vulnerable. This is why protecting your environment matters so much. The people you spend time around affect your emotional state. Constant negativity has a strange way of spreading. One fearful voice can create more fear. One hopeless opinion can slowly weaken confidence. Spending too much time around people who complain, panic, or constantly focus on problems can quietly change how you see your own future. The same thing happens with what you consume every day. Filling the mind with fear, anger, comparison, or hopelessness slowly changes how challenges are interpreted. Eventually, every setback feels bigger than it really is. Negative thinking becomes another battle during difficult seasons. A small problem suddenly feels permanent. One bad moment turns into a belief that life will always stay this way. The mind begins creating stories filled with doubt and fear. Overthinking enters quietly and becomes exhausting. People replay conversations, mistakes, failures, and worst-case scenarios over and over again. Hours disappear inside endless thinking while very little actually changes. Fear begins growing stronger, making every challenge seem impossible to overcome. Self-doubt slowly follows behind it. Questions start appearing. Maybe I am not strong enough. Maybe I will never recover. Maybe things will never improve. The dangerous thing about these thoughts is that repeated fear eventually starts feeling like truth. Yet thoughts are not always reality. Hard times have a way of making people believe temporary pain will last forever. That is why protecting the mind becomes one of the most important forms of survival. Your mind can either become the greatest weapon helping you move forward, or the biggest enemy keeping you trapped. Even when life feels chaotic, protecting your inner peace matters. Sometimes that means stepping away from noise. Sometimes it means choosing silence over panic. Sometimes it means reminding yourself that even in difficult seasons, peace is still something worth protecting. Pain changes people, sometimes quietly, sometimes all at once. A difficult season can make life feel unfamiliar. The things that once felt stable suddenly disappear. Confidence becomes harder to hold on to. Simple days begin feeling heavy. There are moments when pain feels endless, moments when exhaustion reaches a level that words struggle to explain. Some people experience rejection that leaves emotional scars for years. Others carry disappointment after watching plans fall apart. Some face financial struggles that create pressure every single day. Some lose relationships, direction, hope, or even belief in themselves. Pain has a way of touching every part of life, and during those moments it becomes easy to believe suffering only exists to break people. The truth is, pain can destroy people. Many people allow difficult seasons to turn into bitterness, fear, or hopelessness. They slowly stop trusting themselves. They stop believing better days are possible. Pain convinces them to stay stuck inside disappointment. Over time, struggle becomes an identity instead of a season. Every setback feels personal. Every failure feels permanent. The weight becomes heavier because they stop looking for growth inside the experience. They only see loss. Yet there is another side to pain that most people never talk about enough. Pain can also transform people in ways comfort never could. Some of the strongest, wisest, and most disciplined people were shaped during the hardest chapters of their lives. Strength often grows in moments nobody would willingly choose. Confidence sometimes develops after surviving experiences that once felt impossible to survive. Resilience usually comes from being tested again and again. Difficult seasons often force people to grow in areas they would have ignored during easier times. There are moments worth thinking about during struggle. Moments where the mind slowly begins asking different questions. Instead of only focusing on how painful life feels, something shifts. A new thought quietly appears. Maybe this struggle is teaching something important. Maybe this difficult season is building patience, emotional strength, discipline, or wisdom that comfort never could have created. Maybe the pain has a purpose that remains invisible right now. Because suffering always leaves something behind. A lesson, a warning, a stronger mindset, a deeper understanding of life. The people who grow through hard times often stop asking when the pain will disappear and start paying attention to what it is teaching them. They stop running from discomfort and begin learning from it. They allow struggle to shape them into someone stronger, wiser, and harder to break. Pain may arrive without permission, but growth still remains a choice. One of the biggest mistakes people make during hard times is believing they need to fix everything all at once. When life feels heavy, the mind naturally wants immediate answers, immediate results, immediate relief. People look at their problems and feel overwhelmed because the distance between where they are and where they want to be feels too large. A difficult season can make progress seem impossible. Financial pressure feels too big. Emotional exhaustion feels too deep. Goals feel too far away. Confidence feels too broken. Yet real change rarely happens in one dramatic moment. Most people do not overcome difficult seasons overnight. They slowly rebuild themselves, one small decision at a time. Hard times are usually survived quietly, through actions that seem small in the moment but slowly create strength over time. Sometimes strength looks like getting up again after disappointment, even when motivation feels absent, even when life feels unfair. Some days progress simply means refusing to stay down. It means deciding to try again even after failure. There are moments when showing up matters more than perfection. One productive hour, one completed task, one decision to continue moving forward when quitting feels easier. Discipline becomes important during these seasons because emotions constantly change. Some mornings bring hope, other mornings bring doubt. Waiting to feel motivated often creates more delay. Difficult seasons teach something powerful. Small, consistent effort matters more than temporary motivation. Even tiny habits slowly begin changing direction. Reading instead of giving up, learning instead of complaining, improving one's skill instead of focusing only on problems. Difficult seasons often create unexpected opportunities for growth when people decide to keep learning instead of staying stuck. There is also something important about protecting hope. Hope may feel small during hard times, but it matters more than people realize. Sometimes hope survives through very simple actions: a small routine, a positive conversation, a reminder that difficult seasons do eventually change. The strongest people are not always the ones with the easiest lives. Sometimes they are simply the people who kept going while carrying uncertainty. Progress during difficult seasons rarely looks impressive at first. It looks slow, quiet, sometimes invisible. A healthier habit, a better mindset, a little more discipline, a little less fear. Most people overlook these changes because they seem too small to matter. Yet life often changes through repeated small improvements. One better choice turns into another. One habit creates momentum. One difficult day survived becomes proof that survival is possible. Over time, small progress slowly becomes something much bigger than it first appeared. Hard times feel endless when you are living through them. The long nights, the uncertainty, the silent battles nobody else fully understands. There are moments when it feels like nothing is changing, moments when progress feels invisible, moments when exhaustion becomes so heavy that giving up starts feeling easier than continuing. Yet life has a strange way of revealing meaning long after the painful season has passed. Many people only understand their hardest chapters when they finally stand on the other side of them. The difficult truth is that hard times never ask for permission before entering life. They arrive suddenly, through failure, loss, rejection, stress, uncertainty. They challenge confidence, they test patience, they force people to confront fears they never wanted to face. Yet difficult seasons carry something powerful that easier seasons often cannot provide. They reveal strength people never knew they had. They build resilience through struggle. They teach lessons that comfort rarely teaches. Hard times do not last forever. Even when they feel permanent, seasons change, pain changes, circumstances change, yet the person created during those difficult moments can stay forever. The patience learned during uncertainty, the discipline built through struggle, the emotional strength created after surviving disappointment. Those things quietly become part of who you are. One day, maybe much sooner than expected, you may look back at this difficult chapter and finally understand something important. The struggle that felt unbearable was teaching strength. The delays were teaching patience. The failures were teaching wisdom. The pain that once felt unfair may reveal itself as preparation for something greater. Looking back, you may realize life was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and harder to break. So, if life feels heavy right now, keep going. Even if progress feels slow, even if the future feels uncertain, even if all you can manage today is one small step forward, do not quit during the chapter that is trying to grow you. Some of the strongest people are built during the seasons they once believed would break them. Strength grows quietly. Growth happens slowly. Healing takes time. If this video spoke to you or helped shift your mindset, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We are building a community focused on growth, resilience, and becoming stronger through every season of life. Keep moving forward. Your stronger days are still ahead.